welcome to TC Sports. My name is Jacob Butzine alongside Aaron Clinker, Andrew Schultz, and the Big Phil Fathman. Boys, how are we doing?
Great.
Like my sanity has returned a little bit.
Welcome to the winner's circle. How's it feel?
We suck, but hey, at least we won a game. At least we're not the Bears.
I know, right? The Bears were supposed to win 10 games this year. Someone said that.
Yeah, some idiot said that.
That's him right there, officer. That's the idiot.
He also
Aaron.
said Justin Fields was good at football or something.
You know,
Okay,
Aaron was pointing at a screen as if we all knew who he was pointing to.
Well,
Yeah,
you see,
right
on
down
my
the
screen, Butson, you're to my diagonal right.
Butson, you're in
Where?
the bottom right corner over here for me.
I thought Phil said that, not me.
No, you said, and I quote, the Bears will win 10 games and will start 2-1. Possibly even 3-1.
No.
And here they are at 0-4.
Well, you see, what happened was they suck. So, welcome.
We all knew that.
Let's all welcome Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr. to Chicago, everybody. Here we go.
Not going to happen. He ain't going to Chicago.
Yeah,
Listen,
it
I will stay in college.
is. I stay. Well, boys, Andrew and I appreciate Phil and Aaron taking over last week for us. It was just last week was a crazy week for Andrew and I, but we are all back together as one TC Sports podcast, and we are here to give you the update on all things sports. So, we are giving out our first ever TC Sports College Football Top 25 poll. Here we go. I think it's better than the College Football Playoff poll, if you ask me. I really think they should just use our system, our expertise. But,
Well, maybe not all of us.
all right. So, this week, sorry, I don't know what just happened, but so this week, let's start with teams that got other receiving votes, and these schools got only one vote, which means we had them at 25th. So, other receiving votes are James Madison, Kansas State, and Miami of Ohio. All of them received one TC Sports Top 25 vote. And here we are. I am so sorry. I don't know what is happening. So here we are. Let's go through the top 25. So let's start with 25 to 21. So at number 25, we have Fresno State, 24, the Tennessee Volunteers, 23, Louisville, 22, Maryland, and 21, the Missouri Tigers. So, after revealing 21 through 25, who is your biggest, what's the word I'm looking for? Someone who surprised you that made it into our top 25. Or 21 through 25, I should say. Again, it's 21 Missouri, 22 Maryland, 23 Louisville, 24 Tennessee, and 25 Fresno State.
Fresno State, for me personally, was not in my top 25, so surprising that you guys had them in there. But that was just my personal opinion. But what do I know? I just said the Bears were going to go 0-4.
You want to fight about it? You want to fight about it right now?
Yeah, I'll square up.
Well, first off, Fresno State defeated Purdue, which, okay, doesn't really mean anything. But then they have beaten Arizona State, which is a Power 5 school, and I think they're undefeated. And I think at this point in the season, if you're undefeated and you've stayed undefeated, we'll take it.
I agree with that.
There, but I think teams with one loss are also might be better and would beat that said team head to head. Just saying.
Anyone else want to add anything that isn't named Andrew Schultz?
I think he took the words right out of my mouth.
Is that all?
Me and Clint have same brain.
The words?
On most things, we do have same brain.
Oh, God, that's scary. Okay, cool. So that rounds out our 21 through 25. Number 16 through 20. Number 20 coming in is the Duke Blue Devils. Number 19, the Kentucky Wildcats. Number 18, the Utah Utes. Number 17, Oregon State. And number 16, Ole Miss. These teams ending in our 20 through 16. Someone that really surprised me is Oregon State. I mean, they beat Utah, so I think that them ending up above Utah is accurate. I think that's fair. It was only by 1 point though, according to our top 25, but I think that is kind of accurate. I think Kentucky, if they somehow pull off beating, they play Georgia this week. Is that right?
Yeah, they're it's in Kentucky, right?
No,
No?
it is in
Oh.
Athens, and it is a night game.
Yeah, we'll see. Go Cats.
Hope it's a good game. I hope it's not 14.5-point win by Georgia, as the Vegas line is. Kentucky definitely could give them trouble, especially if they run the ball well and do it early, and they don't leave Brock Bowers just wide open. They definitely can cause Georgia some trouble, which will be really fun to watch. I think it'll be a good game to end the night on, or end the night on, hopefully, because Michigan Minnesota will be a blowout. But you'll also be able to flip between Notre Dame and Louisville, which will also be pretty fun, I think.
I agree on that. I think Louisville's got a squad this year.
So let's talk about that a little bit. I actually, unfortunately, just got a work call, so I have to go take a work call. Boys, you talk about this, and when I come back, I will put my input.
All right, so
now that Jake's out of here, let's have some real discussion.
All right. So first, I want to talk about Utah because I know we're not sharing our personal polls, but in mine, I think where they're at and where they're at in this official poll for us is about as expected. I mean, Utah, they've lost one game, and that's without Cam Rising, who I think is it. Andrew, is he coming back at some point? Andrew,
Everyone's gone. Okay. To leave the two of us thing. What was your question, Aaron?
No, it was about Utah and how I noticed that I think we all ranked them about in the 18 to 20 range, and I'd say that's pretty accurate. Oregon State, like Butson said, they beat Utah by 1, so I think they're kind of neck and neck. And then Ole Miss, my goodness, them Rebels got a big win on Saturday. That was probably one of the best games of the year so far, if not the best game of the year. Winning against LSU, who has probably one of the worst defenses in the country, if not the worst. So good win by the Rebels. I think they are definitely ranked in a fair spot. And yeah, that's 16 through 20. All right, now we have 15 through 11. I believe that's the order we were going in.
Correct.
Yes. All right, so starting off, we have the U, Miami. Are they back? I have no idea. I know they had a big win against Texas A&M in week 2 or week 3. That was when A&M was ranked. And they've looked really, really good since. I think they've really built off that big win and have maybe not ridden that momentum, but they have definitely used that momentum going forward. And I think Miami is going to be competing the ACC, potentially. At 14, we have Alabama, which I think everyone can agree this year that this is not the same Alabama team. I don't know if they're done or not. Oh, Andrew's back.
Sorry, I also got a work call.
Yeah, I feel that. We were just talking about Alabama. Your thoughts on where they're ranked?
I feel like in our poll they're pretty low, in my opinion. I do think they started off rough, but I feel some of us value undefeatedness more so than like for me, I rank them at number 11, I believe. Simply
Mm-hmm.
because no, I had them at number 12, right behind Notre Dame. Because even though they do have that one loss, I don't really hold the USF game against them that badly because it was for them a scrimmage and then kind of just seeing what else they had at quarterback other than Jalen Milroe.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're starting to finally get back to where we thought Bama was. And they did play Texas pretty well. Like a 10-point loss against a good Texas team who we clearly value at number 2 in the country, to
Oh, yeah.
me, isn't that bad. And I mean, Texas is good. We'll see what happens in the Red River rivalry this week. But I really don't hold that USF game against them too much. Obviously, it was bad, but when it's mainly just your defense doing something, they held them to 3 points. If it was like 17-14, then I definitely would. But because the defense only gave up 3, I can't really hold the offensive lack of production against the defense. And football is a
Mm-hmm.
team sport, so.
No,
But I think
yeah.
Alabama, if they beat the crap out of Texas A&M, they are right back in it for the SEC. I think they definitely could take it to Georgia if they get a lot better between now and November. So I think October will be definitely a big month for college football for sure.
Absolutely. And I had Alabama at 13, and not because of the USF game. Like, I thought they took care of business for the most part against USF. They were kind of, like you said, seeing what else they have. It was like well, again, I swear to God, we have the same brain when it comes to our thought process with this, but it was like a scrimmage, like you said. And um, I don't know if this is truly the same Alabama team. Like, I don't want to believe it because I've counted them out before and they've proven me wrong. So I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. But I think it seems like we all had Bama, and beside you, Andrew, in like the 11 through 14 range.
I mean, I had them at 12, so
Okay, yeah.
I think we all had them around the same spot. But those 10, 11 teams that are ahead of them, I think our top 10s are all pretty similar for sure.
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely something we all agree on. Like those 10 teams are better than 11, 12, 13, 14. So even though I do think if UNC kind of picks things up and kind of strings some big wins together, they got Syracuse this week, who played very physical with Clemson, but just couldn't quite put up the offensive points. But then they got Miami at home, and then they have their next big game. They got Duke, Clemson, and NC State all back to back. Duke being a home game, and then Clemson and NC State are their final 2 on the road. So I think if the Tar Heels can kind of stay awake, beat Syracuse, and then beat Miami, I think that'll tell us a lot about this North Carolina team. And they definitely could challenge for the ACC. They're right now 4-0. I don't. So they don't do divisions anymore. It looks like.
Yeah.
Um, so it'll just be the top 2 teams make it. So I think if they go undefeated, and that Duke game is going to be a real test, as Clemson now has 2 conference losses already, which is going to hurt them a lot down the road. So I think Clemson's out of it for the ACC. But if North Carolina can walk away with only 1 conference loss, but that 1 conference loss isn't to Duke, we could see a Florida State North Carolina ACC championship game, which wins 1 game, and I think a 1-loss North Carolina Tar Heels team, with that 1 loss maybe being the Clemson late of the season or NC State. I think they could maybe spoil Florida State's chances of making the playoffs for sure. Because I think 1-loss Florida State team who misses that ACC championship game, or loses the ACC championship game, could get knocked out of the playoffs for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I couldn't have said it any better myself. I think UNC is going to be right in the mix for the ACC this year. Um, I agree with you saying that I agree that with you saying that, oh, it could very well be UNC and FSU for the ACC this year. I mean, I'm so used to this being Clemson's conference, their conference for God knows how long it's been. So it'll be nice to see some different teams in the ACC the championship this year, potentially.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. What do we got next? Washington State. We
Not much seems to be said about them. I think they played well so far. They got a big win over Wisconsin, and they got a close, tough, hard-fought victory over Oregon State at home. I think that Pac-12 might cannibalize each other, which is what I'm worried about because I think these Pac-12 schools are really good, and Washington State definitely is not someone to sleepwalk through. Um, but I don't think there's much to be said about them. They got at UCLA this week, and then they got Oregon coming up in a few weeks at Oregon. So, I mean, honestly, if they walk away out of the Pac-12 with only 2 losses, being at Oregon and at Washington, that's a really solid season for Washington State, I think. I think that's their ceiling. I just don't see them doing anything else besides that.
Well said, Andrew. Well said. Phil, any thoughts?
No thoughts?
Okay. And I lost my train of thought. Next up we have Notre Dame at 11. How do we feel about this one, boys? Do we all have them at around like close to the top 10, but not quite?
I know that I had them about that range. They do look very good this year. But with that loss to OSU, not big loss, but a loss nonetheless. You know, it only feels natural to just put them about 10 mark.
Yeah.
USC definitely has a lot of warning flags. I think their defense, especially, um, even though they are undefeated, they have been playing really good football against bad teams. But a lot, man, if it was close in the first half with Colorado and then they walked away with it at the end, I feel like I would feel very differently about USC.
Andrew, we're on Notre Dame.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Notre Dame has the one big win over Duke late in the game. Close loss to Ohio State. Last play of the game. 10 guys on the field. Keeps you out of the top 10. No conference championship either. So that one loss against Ohio State could be it for them. They can't sleepwalk through Louisville either.
Not this year.
Louisville can win that game. Louisville's a pretty solid squad. I don't think Louisville will win, but they very well could if Notre Dame kind of sleeps through that first half.
Yeah, Notre Dame's got to be awake and aware throughout the rest of their season, regardless of conference championship or playoff spot. Like, you want to have a good season, obviously.
And
but
they got USC up right after Louisville, so they don't want to look ahead either.
no, they need to come out against Louisville, punch them in the mouth, make a statement that says, "Hey, we're not afraid of USC. We're going to take it to them just like we took it to them to Louisville."
4 primetime games in a row for Notre Dame, Ohio State, Duke, at Louisville, and then home against USC coming up. So
the whole nation's going to be watching.
hoping
All right, okay, so at number 10, it seems like a majority of us put USC at 10, obviously. I had them a little bit higher, but I also don't really trust this team because of their defense. Yes, they beat Colorado, but the talent gap is just so far with USC and Colorado. They should have blown them out of the water. Like that was just I didn't even know what to say after that.
Yeah. Again, like I was saying earlier, I think if they would have ran away with it at the end and had it close to the beginning, you'd feel very differently about USC and Colorado. But good on Colorado for taking that first half punch in the mouth and then not just folding and then staying with it. But I think there's definitely a clear gap between USC and Oregon in terms of defense.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a difference between playing on the road and at home. So like you can't overlook that either. But what Oregon just did to Colorado and USC couldn't even do that defensively is definitely a big warning flag for the Pac-12 for USC. I think. Again, Lincoln Riley not having a defense. I don't know what it is with his teams, but it's just like he refuses to either get a good D coordinator or recruit defensive stars. But man, USC's got a lot of warning flags, and which is why I also had them down at 10, I believe. Yeah, I had them at 10 as well. So
I mean, I was under the impression that they were higher in last week's rankings, and I thought they were, for whatever reason, I thought they were like 6, which is why, me personally, I bumped them down a couple spots, but that's neither here nor there at this point. It feels like we all kind of have the same range for our top 10. So, moving on, speaking of Lincoln Riley teams, or former teams, I should say, we have Oklahoma at number 9. Andrew, how we feeling about
I'm
Oklahoma?
I'm really high on Oklahoma. I think they have been very sneakily quiet this year. They got a gritty win at UC. Not an easy place to play. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I know the fans there can be pretty brutal, especially in a noon game. Oklahoma's on the road. That's a 2-hour time jump for them. So, or yeah, 2 hours or
Mm-hmm.
1 hour.
Yep.
I think it's 1 hour. But it's still a time jump. You're a little off of your schedule. You're an hour ahead of time now instead. So you lose a bit of time to prepare and stuff from what you're used to. Um, so definitely a gritty win there, but they've blown everybody else out. Their offense is clicking, and it is clicking hard. I mean, um, they blew Tulsa out. They blew Iowa State out. Um, they had a closer win against SMU, but it definitely was a step down from their 73-0 beatdown against Arkansas State. Gritty win
Yeah.
against Cincinnati. Didn't allow any red zone touchdowns, which is impressive. Um, and then they got Texas this week. Red River. Texas is very good. We have them ranked very high. If Oklahoma wins this game, I would not be surprised to see Oklahoma probably shoot up into the top 4 in the AP poll as well, probably in ours. Because I think if Oklahoma does that, they have a pretty clear shot at the Big 12 championship and possibly the playoffs. I think the only team standing in their way is Kansas. And I really wish Kansas had a healthy team against Texas because I would have really liked to see that. But shout out to Kansas for actually keeping it close for the first half, even with their backup quarterbacks. I know they had that crazy triple option play that was really fun to watch. But I think if Jalen Daniels is in that game, it's either a lot closer and we feel a lot differently about Texas going into this game, but if Texas blows them out like that with Jalen Daniels, then we're feeling really high on Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Red River will prove everything we need to know about Texas and Oklahoma. I'm really high on Oklahoma. I think they will upset Texas at Red River. But I think it'll be a fun Big 12 shootout.
Okay.
And our brain cell count
You're
just
the
went
guy
down.
who said there's no way Florida loses to Kentucky. So I don't want to
All
hear
right. So, what was I gonna say?
We're on Oklahoma,
I'm back. Okay. So, um,
or we just talked about them.
so Penn State, Oklahoma being tied. There's a pretty clear gap with us from the 7 and above and 9 below, or 8 below. And then as we get up closer, we get a little bit tighter of a distance. So, I think Oregon looks really good. I think Bo Nix, out of all of the years he's been in college, this might be the best year he's looked so far.
Lots of people go to college for 7 years, Butson.
Spencer
Yeah, those are
Bennett.
called doctors. So I think Oregon's looked well. Oregon's still Oregon to me. I think they end up still losing that one game. You're just like, really, you lost that game. But I still think it'll be Florida State and Ohio State, Washington, rounding out 6, 5, and 4. I think with these teams, more Ohio State and Washington. I know they're above Florida State. I just think Ohio State and Washington still need to play that marquee matchup. I know you're going to say Ohio State, Notre Dame. Well, yes, it's a big win. I'm not discouraging that win, but I think in the end, you need to look at, was Notre Dame just beating up on really bad teams? And also, Ohio State won with 3 seconds left. Notre Dame pretty much outplayed them the entire game. Not pretty much, did until the last 2 minutes, just because Marcus Freeman went full UC and doesn't know how to manage a clock. So
Or count.
So I think that's pretty much the bottom line with them. And then Georgia, Texas, Michigan rounding out the top 3. In my opinion, you could have put any of those 3 in any order. I think you would have probably been okay with it, to be honest. I still think Texas's win against Alabama is going to end up not looking that great because Alabama, I think, is going to lose 1 or 2 more games, to be honest. Some of you might disagree, and that's okay. So what do you guys think? Do you guys think the top 3 is pretty much in order? It could just go any way, or do you think maybe someone else should be up there?
I think there's a clear gap between Michigan and Texas and Georgia. Georgia is not the same Georgia. I don't care about past achievements. I had Georgia actually ranked 4th in my poll, behind Florida State and Texas and Michigan.
So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So Aaron actually had Georgia down at 7. Phil having Georgia at number 1. Andrew at 4, 3. So
I think at this point in the season, your past achievements from last season don't matter. Your roster and who you have do, and Georgia just definitely is not the 2-time national championship team they were.
Yep.
Yeah.
Phil, you're muted, you ding dong.
Sorry, I had to let my dog out, and I forgot to unmute myself. I was gonna say though, same thing with Michigan. That you said about OSU still goes with Michigan. They have not really played a big team that really is defining of their season. I think we'll see that come November when they play Penn State, and then even later on down the line when they do play Ohio State. But I think it's an early call for Michigan as well to say that they are as good as they have, even though they've absolutely blown away everybody they've played so far.
No, I mean, I agree. And here's the stat that I'm going to show you that I think the only reason I'm saying I think why we all end up having Michigan the way they are. And by the way, y'all, I just said y'all because I'm from the South, but
you're not from the South.
No, you're not.
No, I'm in the South. Not from in the South, okay? If you look at Michigan, efficiency, they're number 1 in overall efficiency, okay? Resume, you look at average win percentage. Look at number 2. Game control, meaning how you control a game, number 4. I get we haven't played anybody, but like Rutgers is not a bad team, and really neither is Nebraska. But right, like you said, Phil, Michigan will definitely not get tested until Penn State. So I agree. I mean, you can say that Ohio State deserves to be ahead of Michigan because of their win against Notre Dame. Absolutely. I would not disagree. However,
45-23.
I think you have to go also in saying, like, I'm not saying that they still won. They still did what they needed to do, but look what it took to get there. It took a coach not knowing how to manage a clock and a last-second play for you to win, and for Notre Dame to have 10 guys on the field for the last 2 plays. So, of course, 11v10, you should win that. Again, if Michigan was in that boat, I could be saying the same thing, but yes, I agree. I think this is still a pretty decently closed gap. So, anything else you guys would like to add?
Butson, I was gonna mention why I had Michigan at 1, and you guys know how I feel about Michigan. Not a fan, but I will give them their flowers when they deserve it.
Their flower.
Their credit, whatever you want to call it. You basically explained what I was gonna say, and I didn't even look up that stat. I just kind of from watching some of, maybe not their highlights, but watching like I think 1 or 2 games, because I watched a little bit of that Nebraska game, and I was very impressed with how they controlled the entire game. So you basically explained my whole reasoning.
You're welcome.
I mean, they absolutely dominated Nebraska. Like, it looked like Michigan was having a scrimmage. And that was the number 1 run defense in the country. And Michigan was running at 4.9 yards per carry against them. And had, I think it was like 29 carries for 256 yards, something like that. So it's not like Nebraska was a slouch either defensively. That's been Nebraska's strong point all year, is their defense. But, I mean, Michigan and Texas control the trenches, and teams that do that tend to win national championships. So,
Oh, do they?
and they also tend to beat Ohio State teams by 45-23 and 42-27.
I was waiting on that.
Yes. I don't know. I think this was a pretty good start. I mean, except maybe whoever decided to put this team. Phil.
Also, no LSU on this top 25 because they suck.
There's no reason.
LSU sucks at football this year. I don't care that they beat Bama last year. They suck this year. Big game Brian Kelly strikes again.
Did you guys see? It's not Jalen Daniels, is it? Yeah, Jalen Daniels.
It's Jaden Daniels.
Jaden.
Whatever. There's a bunch of Daniels.
Rocked.
He got rocked.
Jackson hurdles a guy. Jaden Daniels gets rocked.
Kind of funny.
He needs to stop hurdle.
Oops, what happened? Here we go. That is our top 25. We're really excited for another week of college football. Going to be a great week. Red River Rivalry coming in. But at this time, we're going to shift gears into the NFL's best with Aaron Klinker. Let's give him a round of applause, everybody.
We need to get a clap track on here or something.
Phil adds it in later. It's going to be great.
Okay.
Hey, hold on.
Thank you, fellas.
Oh, boy.
We'll work on that. Thanks for the intro, fellas. Appreciate it. So this past week we had a couple blowouts, couple comeback wins, statement wins. Andrew, I'm looking at your team. And speaking of the Lions, Thursday night, the Lions and Packers threw down in Green Bay. And the Packers got thrown around like a Kardashian, and I'm not going to finish that sentence. But yeah, the Lions look dominant. They look like one of the best teams in the NFC and, dare I say, the NFL. You know? And I was very, very impressed with what they did to Green Bay. I think it was 200 total rushing yards, Andrew? Something like that. Yeah, no, it was incredible. And then Sunday, October 1st, we had the Vikings limping into Carolina, scared out of their minds that they were going to get upset by a midget of a quarterback in Bryce Young. It was not a pretty game, but the Vikings are now back in the win column for the first time since last year. So we still suck, but at least we're not 0-4. Bengals Titans, kind of the same old story with the Bengals. Not going to go over that. The Titans, they're still not good. They're still not good. Derrick Henry kind of just put the team on his back once again and ran all over that Bengals defense. Jags and Falcons in London. They had this game on in I think it was like in a Toy Story view or something. Am I right about that? Yeah.
Yes.
I watched maybe 5 minutes of it and I saw Desmond Ritter pass. I'm like, nope, I can't watch this. But Falcons. Why didn't you try and go after Lamar instead of drafting Bijan? I get it. He's a stud. I can't lie. But imagine having Lamar Jackson in that offense. You probably still wouldn't be using Kyle Pitts. Dolphins, Bills. The Dolphins got blown out in Buffalo. I think it was Buffalo. Let me fact check that.
Yes.
Yes, it was. Dolphins will be fine. And then we had the Super Tank Bowl this week, the Broncos and Bears. And my God, the whole Bears organization just needs to be gone. Like, you are now demoted to an XFL team. That was the worst defense I've ever seen played. That was the worst coaching I've ever seen. And ironically, for this week at least, Justin Fields was not the issue, but I still do not think he is good. Broncos, you guys are actually riding. Good job, I guess. Then Ravens, Browns. Deshaun Watson was out for this game, so you're starting a fifth-round rookie. You're going to get your ass beat, especially by a team like the Ravens. Who has an echo? And then Steelers, Texans. The Steelers, they got blown out. And for whatever reason, the Texans are a fun, scrappy team this year. I did not expect that. So shout out to Miko Ryans and everyone in charge on that coaching staff. You're helping turn that team around. And then Rams, Colts. This game went into overtime, and I didn't watch much of it, but I saw that Matthew Stafford game-winning drive in overtime. That was very, very vintage Matthew Stafford, and I loved it. But Colts, don't feel bad. You guys got your franchise quarterback now. Then Bucks, Saints. Baker continues his revenge tour and took down the Saints 26-9. And the Bucks are what, 3-1? Yeah, something like that. They are 3-1. That was not on my bingo card this year. Commanders, Eagles. This game went into overtime, and the Eagles won on a last-second field goal. They're the team this year that's going to be losing close games and might be called frauds. I'm just saying. Raiders, Chargers. This is the battle of the idiot head coaches. Moving on. Patriots, Cowboys. Patriots got blown out. There's really not much else I can say. Cardinals, 49ers. Again, Cardinals got blown out, but they play with heart, so I'll give them that. Chiefs, Jets. Zach Wilson became he outplayed Mahomes, literally, because Taylor Swift and Donna Kelsey were in the building, and I didn't watch much of this game, but I heard the Chiefs got bailed out again by the refs. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe. And then rounding off our, week 4? Good Lord. We had the Seahawks and Giants, and oh, God. Good Lord. I thought my team was bad. 24-3 against a Seahawks defense that I don't know if they're that good, but they looked like the Legion of Boom out there. You're telling me you could not score more than 10 points against a Seattle team? Yeah, New York, get ready to learn Canadian, buddy, because you're going to the CFL. Anyways, that's all I have for week 4. Thank you, fellas, for the introduction, but that was the NFL's best with yours truly. Where did Butson go?
No idea.
All right. Well, what was everybody's favorite games this week?
Yeah.
Andrew, what's up with you?
You talking about favorite games of week 4 or your favorite games of week 5?
Week 4. What was your favorite game to see, and what was one of the defining plays or players that you saw on the field?
My favorite game, very obviously, was Detroit playing in Ford Field West, as it's now known as.
Oh my God.
Uh, the absolute beatdown we gave the Packers. And I'm sure Klink will agree with this as a Vikings fan. But, man, there is nothing better in the world than absolutely going to Green Bay and just sticking it to them. All those years of Aaron Rodgers just Hail Marys, beating my team on the last second, and then last year ending his season in Ford Field West. Jared Goff is now the new owner, actually. So it felt really good to do that. I would say that the defining play was Quay Walker just forgetting NFL rules entirely again against the Lions. The Lions are just in his head rent free all the time, jumping over the center, causing a flag. Lions walk in touchdown. David Montgomery, after all those years being stuck on the Bears, finally gets glory. 32 carries, 121 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Monty gets his Green Bay revenge as well for this Thursday meetup. We'll meet again on Thanksgiving Day, and the Lions will be the brand new Lions on Thanksgiving and get a dub.
All right.
Thank you.
Andrew has been drinking the Kool-Aid, but
Oh
it ain't
yeah,
no Kool-Aid anymore. It's
Oh.
it's real. It ain't no Kool-Aid anymore. It's real. Phil, what was your favorite game of the week?
I didn't really get to watch much on Sunday. I was busy all Sunday, but I did watch yesterday's game, Seahawks Giants.
Gosh, you act like what? What were you doing on Sunday?
I was hanging out with your mother. I'm kidding. I was hanging out with my girlfriend.
First
Why?
off, you do not hang out with your girlfriend and ditch football. Okay, that's rule number
Look.
one.
Watch football with you.
Look. We were supposed to hang out Saturday.
I don't get flying fart.
Then I moved over.
I don't get flying fart.
I did watch the late game that night, and I did watch some of it on the couch with her family. So that makes you feel any better.
No, because who wants to watch Kansas City and New York? No one. Absolutely no one.
Except the Swifties.
But that Seahawks Giant game was very entertaining.
Was it though?
To watch? Yes, it was. I got to see.
We want to jump off a cliff.
I got to see Daniel Jones just run for his life all day long, and it was absolutely hilarious.
Fair enough.
I will give it to the Seahawks, though. We saw Devin Witherspoon with the defensive touchdown from 97 yards. Brand new rookie. He ended up getting 2 sacks in his first game and 6 tackles. So I think those are pretty impressive stats to put out there as a rookie. So I foresee him being a starter from now on the team. But overall, I just thought it was very entertaining to see the Seahawks absolutely destroy the Giants.
Is he done talking?
How did the
Yes, Aaron.
How did the other type of bird team fan out in London?
They got destroyed,
Not
my
even
dude.
Toy Story could make them look good.
They did not have a friend in me. Let's just say that.
The claw went, get this team out of here.
Instead of placing the ball, they were pulling players off the field.
There was
They were pulling Jaguar players off the field, and the Falcons still couldn't do anything.
I'm pretty sure Kyle Pitts is still in his packaging because they never use him.
Get in the box.
It's in the box.
That's not the real Buzz. That's not the real Buzz.
He's never been out of his box.
Because Arthur Smith doesn't know how to use his weapons outside of Bijan.
I wouldn't say
And
that.
even that.
I'd say it's also a quarterback issue. Desmond Ridder can't seem to throw the ball 25 yards without it going either out of bounds into a defender's hands or just missing the target completely. There have been many times Kyle Pitts has been wide open downfield, and because his quarterback can't get the ball to him, it just doesn't work out. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Vikings. I hope this doesn't happen, Clint, because I want the Vikings to finish second in the division and come down.
We're not going to.
Hey,
no.
we go on a historic 12-2 run like the Lions did.
I don't want to. We need a high draft pick. I want a quarterback.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Vikings trade Kirk Cousins to Atlanta for draft picks and some other stuff because I think Kirk Cousins would fit pretty well in Atlanta. You wouldn't have to do much, just hand the ball off to Bijan and then throw the check down.
But who is he throwing to in Atlanta?
Kyle
Uh,
Pitts, Drake London.
Kyle Pitts,
Bijan?
Drake London's a very good wide receiver, and then the
Yeah.
Falcons
Oh, yeah.
draft one. And
Kyle Pitts is a bum.
I don't think he's a bum. He's just misused.
Okay, but
who is a bum though?
that doesn't change anything. Putting Kirk on that offense does not change anything.
Kirk would actually throw accurately. Kind of.
Kirk would at least on a run-based offense.
Yeah.
You know who wouldn't change no matter where they played? Justin Fields. He's a bona fide scrub.
But, like, okay, you have Kyle Pitts and Drake London. You need competent second and third wide receivers.
Yeah, they'll draft some.
Yeah,
wide receivers galore, dude, and free agency.
I mean, I was gonna say like the Bengals, but we all know how the Bengals offense looks. So you can have
T.
wide
Higgins
receiver
will be a free agent this season, so maybe Atlanta gets T. Higgins, pays him wide receiver 1 money, get Kirk Cousins down there. That Atlanta offense would be dangerous.
They can have him.
But we don't think that Kirk Cousins is, out of the league in a couple years.
No, Kirk's fine. He's got like another 7 left.
Well, I don't know about that.
I'd say he's got like 3 or 4, and that could very well help the Falcons.
He's 35. I think he makes it to 37, 38 and calls it done.
As I said, 3 years.
Yeah, maybe 4. And then Aaron Rodgers comes back to Minnesota, so,
Welcome back.
No!
Clink, it's the circle of life. And it moves us all.
Don't you want Aaron Rodgers to do what he did to your team for years, but on your team to other teams?
So it's not going to be like that because he's going to be like Brett Favre and get concussion after concussion after concussion.
Hold up here, Andrew. Hold the phone. Did you see who Atlanta's third-string quarterback is?
Bijan Robinson.
Former Toledo quarterback.
Oh, what's his face? God. What's his name?
Okay.
Logan Woodside.
That's what it is.
Jalen played with him. Said he was the biggest
Jalen
douchebag.
is Jacob's cousin. Jacob doesn't know how to clarify.
Sorry. Yes. Played quarterback at Toledo. He said Logan Woodside was a douchebag.
Wow. Some strong words.
Yes. He might have said it in a nicer way, but that was the bottom line.
Guess what, kids? You just learned a new word.
Hey. You're right.
We're just teaching them new vocabulary, all right?
What Week 5 games are you boys excited for? Just give me one real quick.
None of them.
None of them?
Let me
see here.
Cowboys 49ers.
That'll be a good game. Will the Cowboys actually, get revenge? And maybe they won't put Tony Pollard at center.
I'm excited for Jets Broncos.
Actually, I could see that being
Here's why. Here's why. I think Zach Wilson is starting to grow up, and I think that this could be a breakout game for him. He played well against Kansas City.
That's because fans.
Yeah.
Because what?
He's like Jordan Poole when he sees a baddie on courtside.
He saw Donna up in the booth, and he said, "This one's for you, Donna." He was like, "Travis got Taylor Swift. I got Donna."
I think
if all the Swifties think Zach Wilson's better than Mahomes.
I think for Sean Payton to not ruin the Broncos, whatever. I think Sean Payton's a great coach. I think he needs to start taking some responsibility so that he doesn't turn into like another Nathaniel Hackett, where it's like
it's not going to be that way, dude. It's his first season. Let him get his guys. Let him build his team. The Broncos will be back in playoff contention in 3 years' time.
Maybe.
No, they will be.
They'll get a 45-year-old Aaron Rodgers with a bionic leg.
Staley and then hire Peyton.
That's what they should have done.
Should have done this offseason.
But Dean Spanos is a terrible owner, so
Yeah, you're right.
However, I'm excited for Ravens Steelers only because I want the Ravens to absolutely destroy the Steelers, like 35-7, and then Matt Canada get fired.
I'm excited for Commanders Bears on Thursday night.
No one cares about that.
No. Hold on. There's a reason. I'm excited for this game.
did you make a bet?
Hey, the Bears can still win 10 games, just FYI.
No. Because here's the thing: there are rumors that if the Bears lose Thursday night, they will fire Eberflus.
Isn't he in your
I love to see the Bears collapse their organization. So I am cheering for the Washington Commanders and Sam Howell to just give it to the Bears on Thursday Night Football in front of a national audience.
Isn't this his first year?
Second.
Oh, okay.
But because the Bears have a long week after this Thursday night game, there's rumors that they could fire Eberflus and put someone new in charge, which I am all for. The Bears organization just crumbling, especially 4 games into the season. Just give that to me, please. The Bears are a poverty franchise, and I want them to stay that way. I hope they go 0-17.
Hey, that's how I feel with Ohio State, but 0-12.
I hope they somehow manage to go 0-17 one year in college football. That'd be hilarious.
Wouldn't it be like 0-10?
0-12.
0-12.
Regular season.
Well, this is your favorite boys ever from TC Sports. My name is Jacob Butzine alongside Aaron Klinker, Andrew Schultz, and the big Fathman, the big Phil Fathman. Sorry, Phil, I love you. Play us out of here. Panthers are gonna be 0-5. The Panthers are gonna be 0-5 after this Sunday because the Lions are gone. Joe Burrow stole Cincinnati's money. He stole Cincinnati's money. And all the Bears are gonna fire Eberflus. He's gonna get fired. Go Michigan.